All righty. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the We Are J6 weekly live stream. And we have been doing this most Saturdays throughout the year at 12 p.m. Eastern, but not every Saturday. So we miss you when we're not here. And we know you guys are excited to join us when we are back on. So we are very excited about the panel that we have today. And let's bring them all up here. Let's see, where do we have Dr. Gold and Silk of Diamond and Silk, and we have J6er Shane Jenkins, and I apologize because my screen is not letting me do that. I don't understand these windows sometimes. Their technology is fighting me right now, so there you go. Let's see, can I do it? If I make that go away.
Well, John uploads that. Usually, we were ready backstage, but he just joined us. We want to wish everybody. We weren't here obviously for July 4th. We want to wish everybody in America beautiful, beautiful July 4th. That's the only reason we weren't here on July 4th. And we love our nation. It's 249. Next year's going to be super special, right? Silk, we have to hear what you're going to be doing next year in the 250. So.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Dr. Gold. So we always make a point to begin by acknowledging the presence of God and the importance of his providence and protection. And so we're going to just do that together right now. It's just an amazing opportunity we have. Just remember, we are one nation under God, and God is real and he is good. So let's just go to him now. Heavenly Father, we come to you in humility and also in joy and in gratitude and thanks. We, of course, gather with this live stream for the topic of January 6th that deals with persecution and suffering and a lot of negative things. But we also recognize, God, that you are good, you are in control, you turn all things, even negative, for good for those who love you and are called according to your purpose. And we also recognize that there are a lot of incredible things going on a million miles an hour very quickly in our life and in our country and in our culture. It's a very tumultuous time, but it's a very exciting and interesting time. And there's a lot of hope. We claim that hope, God, because it comes from you. So we just recognize that. We thank you for this time, for these amazing patriots that have gathered here to share their time, their energy, their testimony, and their courage. And God, we recognize that that courage also comes from you. So thank you for being God, for being good, for giving us this time, this space. And we do ask, God, for your intervention. God, we specifically come to you asking for your divine assistance, your providence, that you would do miracles in our country, that you would do miracles in our government, and that you would do miracles in healing the lives and the futures of J6ers. We just ask for your compassion and mercy and healing on them. Thank you for this time. And in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. So that really is my favorite part, actually. I love getting together with patriots, with Americans that understand and appreciate the Judeo-Christian foundations of our country. That means that we are a country built on the truth of the Bible, and brave men and women over the years who have understood that that is their source and rely on it. And that really, informs and fortifies who we are and what we do. So what we're doing here, of course, wearej6.com. We are a free speech alliance of patriots that are simply in pursuit of delivering restorative justice. So we always take a minute or two to sort of revive our understanding of what that concept means and what it entails. And different people have different perspectives on that, of course. So we're always looking for multiple viewpoints and multiple experiences. So Shane is a J6er as well. But Silk, we're really excited to have you here with us today. And you have been a fearless, courageous, just godly woman and champion of J6ers and the J6 cause, really from the very beginning, as far as I know. Yeah. And I have been personally so blessed by that, so encouraged. If I'm not mistaken, I think you had me on your show before I went into prison, knowing it was coming. And then probably again after I got out. So it's been a long journey. We've all been part of this battle for years now. But we want to hear your perspective on the J6 fight, as it is, from going back from when it started and kind of leading up to where we stand now and how you see this issue in our country.
Well, first, let me say thank you so much, Mr. John Strand and Dr. Gold, for having me on this amazing platform. When I truly think about it, under Jim Crow Joe, I know his name is Joe Biden, but I call him Jim Crow Joe, okay? Under Jim Crow Joe, those 4 years was the most crucial, demonic, and brutal years that I could ever imagine in my whole entire life.
Yep.
And the way that they did American citizens,
right,
and the way that they destroyed American lives, while in the same breath want to take up for families or for not separating families from their children, they were still doing it to American citizens under the Biden regime. And I want people to understand that we cannot allow this to just go under the rug, just be swept under the rug. We can't allow that. We can't allow what happened to our January 6ers, the individuals that was entrapped. And I don't even have to say in my own humble opinion because the evidence is out there. Okay.
Right.
I don't want their story to go silent and we just forget about them. Okay. We have to continue to keep our voices out there, and there has to be justice for these innocent individuals who these people entrapped into their system, into their web of lies, okay, and destroyed American families. There's still families today. Let me calm down.
No, we're so feeling it. I mean, of course, several of us are in those families, and we're all connected and supporting many of them. So the pain you're talking about is absolutely so real.
There's still families today who's suffering today because either they're veterans, they can't get their benefits, even though they might have received a commuted sentence, they need to receive a pardon so that they can get their benefits. They're unable to take care of their families. I mean, it was just totally disgusting. It surely is. And there's got to be a day of reckoning when it comes down to Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, anybody involved with setting up this thing needs to be indicted, prosecuted, and locked up. That's what needs to happen to them. They need to suffer the same dreadful road that they sent a lot of innocent American citizens down.
Yeah, Silk, you're definitely speaking to the burning need for justice. It's a fire inside of all of us. I think God put it there. It's just connected to an understanding of what's true and right and good. And things have been greatly turned upside down and perverted, and people have been persecuted and harmed, like you mentioned, and it's just wrong. And we know that. I have a couple of questions for the group. Anyone can jump in here on this, but Silk has such a clear-eyed view and understanding of what happened and what went wrong. And we do need justice, but the question is, how do we get there? And before we get there, I think there are just so many people in our country that still don't understand the truth and the reality. So they don't feel the injustice because they don't see the facts the way that you do. So what's going wrong, and how can we correct that problem?
Really to answer your question and just to kind of make sure the group always is understanding like what our objectives are, we need Americans. Some of you who are watching are J6ers, many of you are not. Some of you know J6ers, many of you do not. We are your brothers, your sisters, your neighbors, your coworkers. Many of us still haven't gone public. They're scared. They've said that sometimes on these live streams week after week. It's incredible what we endured, and we intend to show this from the human perspective. That's why we do videos of ordinary J6ers whose lives you haven't heard from. People who've lost their businesses, people who've lost their marriages, their homes, whose kids have been traumatized, who lost all their finances, the devastation that the people have gone through at the hands of being attacked by their own federal government. That's part one, is to kind of change people's understanding of what this was. No matter what happened on that day, in general, it was a political protest like any other day, and it was handled extraordinarily different than every other day. And people just need to understand, as Americans, that our nation did this to us, much like they did to Japanese Americans. World War II, it's actually worse for a lot of reasons, but it's very similar. They took a group of people who were disfavored during the Jim Crow Joe years. And those are the political conservatives. And they just said, hey, we're going to treat political conservatives really badly. Well, that's just something that we don't do in our nation. So part one is getting these stories out. That's what this is about. This is the human touch. Those are the videos. And part two is not forgetting that people had terrible harms that befell them, that the government needs to do what it can to make it right. Part of those harms can be improved with financial restitution for the things people went through, the bankruptcies, the house losses, the jobs, the employment, the fact that you were blacklisted, right? Some of those things can be helped with financial. Some of them need government changes. People know I'm hot on the subject of the government, judges being impeached, the fact that prosecutors lied, judges behaved badly. All of those things need the government's help. As we've said many times, we believe there's a friendly administration that wants to make this right for J6ers. We also are all noticing that the administration is very busy with lots of priorities throughout the nation and internationally. And we need to make sure that, this is always an issue that the administration knows and will circle back on. I am of the same mind I was a few weeks ago. I want to reiterate that because I get asked this question a lot. What do I think is happening? Do I think that the administration has forgotten about J6ers? I definitely do not. I do not. Right. Like you, as a J6er who suffered a lot, like you, I'm impatient. I want all this done yesterday. I get it. But I have every reason to believe that we are progressing behind the scenes. I absolutely believe that. The moment I don't believe that, I will tell you guys the same, like the truth. That I'll speak the truth. I just wanted to say that so there's no confusion.
Thank you, Dr. Gold. And I also just want to mention that I believe very firmly that the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So Silk started out on this note, and she's going to keep it going. I know, because she's good at that. But the Silk wheel gets the grease. We have to keep talking about this. We have to keep working. We have to keep uniting. Dr. Gold mentioned that J6ers, particularly those defendants that personally suffered, I'm one of them. Dr. Gold is one of them. Shane is one of them. We have serious, immense pain, trauma, after effects. And you're seeing some of the better representations. There are others that are in much worse shape. There are people that are literally homeless. There are many people that lost husbands and wives and sons and daughters and relationships, and there were deaths in the family. And certainly the lack of having a future where they don't just lose their job and their savings. They definitely lost that, but they've lost really any semblance of who they are as a functional adult in society. They've lost opportunities and job openings that they'll never get back again. It's very serious, and we have to keep talking about it. And the other, connected to the squeaky wheel gets the grease, I just want to remind the audience that we talk about this a lot. January 6th is not just an isolated incident or topic. So even if you aren't a J6er, and even if you don't know a J6er personally, you probably know someone who is affected by a dysfunctional government. I think that applies to everyone, right?
That's right.
And
that's right.
What Dr. Gold was saying about financial restitution is critical, and it will help a lot of serious problems for J6ers, and that has to happen. But she said government help, or essentially government reform, right? And that's definitely going to affect every American in this country. And January 6th represents, I call it the tip of the spear, the tip of the weaponized government spear specifically. But J6 really represents some deep systemic issues of corruption and weaponization and dysfunction in our government. And if we don't start really digging in and making real investigations and prosecutions and major reforms, we're all going to continue to suffer at a terrible level. So it isn't just about J6, even though we're focused on that issue on this stream.
Can I just say something real quick? I know it's not just, and you're right, it's not just about J6. It's about these individuals following our laws, our rules, and our regulations. Amen. A lot of people want to get together and say, we need to change this, we need to change that. No, they just need to stop breaking the doggone law. We already got it sitting there written in place. The doggone judges need to follow the law and stop subverting the law, okay? Stop adding to the law to just try to fit their narrative. And that's what's been going on in this country. It's been like this group of hate. We hate you. This group of, okay, we got to run away from you because we got to keep you from getting us. And then they take and weaponize their power.
Yep.
The power is in all of these different entities. They weaponize their power. To hell with whatever the law say. We're going to implement this against you and implement that against you, because we got to show the nation that you the boogeyman, that you the white supremacist, that you the domestic terrorist, while allowing our doggone borders to be open and letting real domestic terrorists come over here into our country. Do y'all know that they called me a white supremacist and I'm
not surprised at this point.
Called me a racist and all of these different things, just because I choose to see success for our country. And it's ridiculous. They need to start following the law. So I guess my question to this panel is, what do we do so that these individuals that's supposed to be in high places, our leaders, begin to follow the law and not break the law? You see what I'm saying? Because the law is there.
Yes.
Can I speak to that for a second?
Yeah, please, Shane.
So I just want to say, first and foremost, my heart goes out to the people in the hill country of Texas. All the lives lost, all the children that are lost. I'm actually in Ruidoso, New Mexico right now, where there was immense flooding and 3 people lost their lives, 500 homes lost. And so my heart and prayer go out to the American people. And that, I believe, is what is the most important thing, is the American people. Because you said, we want government help, but what did Ronald Reagan say? The worst thing you could hear is, we're the government and we're here to help. So what it's going to take is grassroots movements like We Are J6 and like Stand in the Gap and like Silk and people, guerrilla journalists, people who stand in the gap and choose to fight for the American people. And when you were talking about that, I was thinking about all these things that are going on, the weaponization of the government and all this. I have this shirt. It says, less 1984 and more 1776.
That's good. I like it.
We need 1776 vibes. We need people to, and that's the unfortunate thing. And as you were talking, Silk, I was thinking about Ruby Ridge and the Bundy Ranch and all these situations where it's confrontational. Like, resistance is not always pretty, and sometimes January 6th, like it was entrapment scheme, but also at the same time, people are upset about a stolen election.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to put your own personal well-being and your own safety at risk to be defiant. Sometimes you have to be defiant, and and that gets ugly. And I'm not saying resort to violence. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying, call your congressman, call your senator, donate. If you don't like Thomas Massey, donate to who's going to primary him, or whatever it takes, whatever you believe. Like, I'm not happy about this Epstein stuff, so I'm posting every day about, why isn't the Epstein list out? Is there a list? I believe there is. So I'm going to continue to draw attention to it until I feel like the people that need to be hearing what I'm doing or what the issue is, till they hear it. And so I think we have to we're given a voice. Benjamin Franklin said, you have a republic if you can keep it, right? I think that's an action. You have to actively be engaged in your community, in your morals, in your belief system, and you have to take action. Don't sit by. I think the church has pacified men for too long in America, and I think it's time for men to get active. The women have been fighting. They've been taking care of those babies and doing all this stuff. The men need to get out here and say, look, I stand against this transgender agenda. I'm not going to allow you to put these books in my son's school. I'm going to go snatch those off the shelf and burn them in the library. I might go to jail for it, whatever, but I just think it's an active thing that we have to do. I'm sorry to ramble on, but I thank y'all so much for having me, and it's a blessing to be here.
I just want to add, it was funny when Shane, when you started saying like the men, like I can't speak for Silk, but for myself, like, it would be great if like the men really stood up strong. It's a lot. Like, it's a lot as women, just be like handing up, the doctors, they didn't do the right thing during COVID, all of that stuff. But everyone in their own life can do more. So my heart always breaks a little bit for the J6ers who still want to be anonymous, right? They're nervous that their neighbors and coworkers, are going to like judge them. But it's in moments like that you actually can move society. So we need to move society. There's some bigger ways, like some bigger voices like Silk, John, myself, we post about these things, but we also put these videos that we want you to share so people can watch them. They're very heart opening. They really change people's minds. But when you have conversations with people, when you say, hey, when a person knows you, and then you say, this happened to me, that gives it like a whole other depth for people.
Yeah.
So I encourage people to have those conversations, not to silence yourself. I'm not doing this to shamelessly promote my book. Still, I just wrote another book and it's out, but I talk about this weaponization of government, and I do it so people can hear it, be educated, and then they can talk about it at the water coolers, at the office, and to their mother-in-laws, and to their bosses, and to their siblings. Don't silence yourself. It matters.
And that's right. And your voice is your power. So use it. Don't let them silence your power. Don't let them weaponize your First Amendment against you. I mean, we have rights here. And when Shane is talking about these men, I've been asking that same question. What the hell's going on here? Who put what in the water? Who got what in the food? Because a lot of our men that has been emasculated, and they walking around here like a lot of fruitcakes. Now, what you do in the privacy of your bedroom, that's between you, your partner, and your God. Ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm not going to get in the middle of that. No way. But my deal is, men, where are you at? You're supposed to be the protector, the provider. You're supposed to be there to protect the family. And that's another reason when I look at the way that they entrapped our J sisters, they made sure they entrapped a lot of men. They wanted to bring down the men, especially our veterans, the one that fought for this country. They wanted to do everything they could to tear down the men. Then when you look over there into the party of the Democrats, where are the men? Okay, I was somewhere taking care of some business. And I saw this liberal woman, and I say, poor woman, she need a man. She looked so sad. She just looked so sad. It looked like if she could just have her a man for a good 24 hours, she would be just fine. But I'm like, what you did, let me tell you what the liberal women did. You made it okay for men to act like you. You made it okay for men to say, oh, I'm you. So now you there with somebody that's thinking that they you, and now you don't even know what a real man is and what a real man really truly feel like and what a real man is supposed to be doing, because our men has been emasculated. And that's why they tear down our men. They tear them down. They love to tear you down mentally and physically. If they can just take and tear you down, because they know that you are the key. God, and then we got our men. You are the key to holding this right here, holding our families, having our families, etc. They know this, and that's why they cease to destroy our men. Now, when it comes down to Epstein, they said that it's not a list, but I'm pretty sure it's a black book. So my deal is this. You know, that's Epstein, and that's what the pedophiles and the pedophilia people, that's what they do. But I'm gonna be honest with you all. If we got the list, how is that gonna feed your family? How is that gonna pay your bills? How is that gonna help you? You know, we can't eat Epstein, but we got China coming over here buying up our farmlands, poisoning our soil and our food supply. All right. Now, I'm not saying that the pedophiles or the pedos don't need to be prosecuted, but I'm saying if you're not going to go after Joe Biden, who allowed the sex trafficking to happen with the open borders, right? All right. If you ain't going to go after Joe Biden, why are we wasting our time waiting on the list instead of looking at all of the stuff that we truly have missed, and how our systems are being infiltrated by foreign entities to kill us, to destroy us, to destroy our food supply. And I got to look at what's important to me, because they've been talking about Epstein. Now you got a woman, Maxwell, you got her locked up. Okay. Right. You see what I'm saying? They got her locked up. Not her, H-E-R. They got her locked up. But the men that's part of this, nowhere to be found. Now, when it comes down to President Trump, I want y'all to know that he's strategic. He is strategic in what he's doing. There sometimes, in order to save the country, he have to do what he have to do. And like I told my audience the other night, the people that was on the list. Like I told them, sometimes you have to do what you got to do in order to save the country. Because if you allow certain things to happen, it can destroy the whole world. So which one do you prefer? Allow President Trump to be President Trump because I voted for President Donald J. Trump because I trust that he will make the best decision for our country. But once again, don't allow the list to be a distraction. We already know who the pedophiles are. They've already done came out. Okay, we already know this. Here's another thing I want everybody to understand when we talk about this list. There is a lot of people I'm understanding that is connected to this list, but it is not part of Epstein's pedophilia.
Right.
And the way that the media operate, anybody connected to Epstein, the first thing the media is going to do is try to connect those individuals to pedophilia.
Right. Whether it exists or not.
It's out of context, and the way that the media operate, they just gonna go with it. I remember my sister and I, and she hurry up and shut my mouth. We took pictures, you know, whenever we're out, we take pictures. People take pictures. Well, something happened back a few years ago with this massage parlor. All right. Well, because this lady had a picture with my sister and I, you know, just is out and about. They wanted to attach my sister and I to the massage parlor because they were doing something extra inside of the massage parlor. And we ain't about that life. You know, we may be licensed cosmetologists, but we wasn't in the massage parlor. We was just minding our business at some restaurant, and a lady came up and wanted to take a photo with us. So if the media, see how the media got a hold of that. And instead of seeing what the context was about, they just attached us to it. And me and my sister didn't know what was going on. Right. So that's how the media operate. And we got to be careful for that because President Trump don't want to destroy lives. He don't want people's lives ruined. Everybody can't handle the brutal attacks that all of us on this here particular panel has been through. The average person can't have that. And President Trump don't want that, and neither do I. So my main thing is at the end of the day, what's the most important thing of the day? We have J6ers that's been locked up, and they still need justice. They've been locked up, and even though the people on the Epstein list still ain't been locked up. Okay.
And Silk, I would say that we definitely support President Trump, obviously, and still have a lot of confidence in him.
Yes.
I think what the American people are struggling with right now is a lack of trust in the apparatus around him and in the institutions that form kind of the structure or the bedrock of our government and our country and the way it's supposed to operate, particularly when it comes to the idea of justice and a justice department. And so there is a direct parallel between the Epstein conversation and the J6 conversation, specifically related to government agencies and leading with the FBI. Now, behind the FBI is the CIA and other darker and really more powerful intelligence community agencies. But the FBI is a specific entity that has a lot of power, force, influence, and relevance to what's going on. And of course, it very directly affected our lives as J6ers.
That's right.
So I think you have a good point that people can get easily distracted and worked up and sort of missing what's really important in this battle. But the Epstein situation certainly does have a lot of importance and relevance as it relates to truth, transparency in our government and corruption and misuse of power by people both inside our government and around it.
Amen to that.
I think it's really critical for all of us to continue working and communicating and keeping pressure very high on our representatives, certainly our direct representatives and our government as a whole, that we expect and demand the maximum amount of transparency that is possible. That doesn't mean we know everything about everything per se, but we need significant transparency because there's been a very huge lack of that. There's been a lot of bad behavior that we need to see addressed. Accountability has to happen. Like Silk was saying, you've got these judges that break the law. Well, if nothing ever happens to them, why would they stop? And that goes for the FBI and the CIA and all these agencies as well.
Well, I want to see the J6 videos. When they gonna release all of the J6 videos so that we can see that? You know, that's really important to me. I'm telling you, I'm not saying that this list is not important.
Right.
Okay, I'm not saying that. And people do need to be held accountable.
Right.
We got that
Absolutely.
part. But who's been held accountable already? They ain't went after Joe Biden. Okay, so I'm not saying we're beating a dead horse. What I'm saying is, what's most important right now, like you said, John, what's most important right now that needs to be happening right now, instead of us being distracted and deflected, stuck on a list, waiting on a list that may never come, while our life is passing us by. We're being poisoned, y'all. We got a foreign country over here that's trying to poison us and bring over all of these, something called a screw worm, through our beef and fungus up there in Michigan in the lab. You know, there's stuff that's really truly happening. Don't get me wrong. Epstein, the Epstein list, the pedophiles, and everybody else that's on the list that needs to be exposed, they will. But I just don't want people's main focus, because that's what has happened. It's been trending. Their main focus has been stuck on a list instead of the real news that they have missed. And that's the fact that we've been poisoned. Geoengineer, our weapon is, weather is being poisoned. It's a lot of different things that's going on.
In fact, here in Florida, we just had a law passed banning geoengineering. So the Florida state legislator and Governor DeSantis has been on the right trail there. So Florida leading the way again, as usual, for the U.S. But Shane, can you tell us a little bit, for the audience that probably hasn't heard, share a little bit about your direct testimony, your direct experience as a J6er? Because like Dr. Gould was mentioning, a huge part of the platform and a huge part of the missing piece still is that a lot of Americans, they just don't actually know what happened, and they don't know who we are as Americans.
No, for sure. And I will say that, you know, 4 people died on January 6th. Roseanne Boylan, Ashley Babbitt, Kevin Greason,
and
Benjamin Phillips. I will say that, you know, I was fortunate to be in the DC jail for 32 months and to be called a leader amongst all those wonderful, amazing men in there. 72% of all January 6ers are either law enforcement, former law enforcement, prison guards, or veterans or first responders. These are the backbone of this nation, right? And these men and women are suffering right now. I know so many people right now, my friends, and the men that I particularly spent those 32 months with in the DC jail, I'm very close to many of them. And I know many of them who are actively going through a divorce or who have been through a divorce since they got home. I know men that went through divorces while we were locked up, but I also know people today, like, we were given our freedom back. Like, thank God for President Trump giving us our freedom back. He does need to pardon the rest of those people, though, the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys. He does need to, but I believe, like you said, he's strategic. I believe there's a time and a place, and it's coming. But these people are suffering. I have been, John and Simona and everybody here, I have been a hot mess since I've been home. I have been in trouble. Before I gave my life to Christ, I was in prison 3 different times in the state of Texas. But I've never had an emotional, mental baggage that I carried with me that was something that was difficult, and it's been something I've been trying to deal with. I'm here in New Mexico, sprinkling my mom's ashes, a promise that I made her before she died in 2012, that I would sprinkle her ashes from Sierra Blanca, a mountain here in New Mexico. And so I'm closing making some promises made, promises kept is what I'm doing. And so, but I just want people to know that people were concerned about the election in 2020. Like, I still think it was stolen. I want to know about that. We want accountability for January 6th. Well, let's get some accountability for 2020. If you can show that the election was stolen, which it was, then January 6th is an afterthought. Then you were justified in anything that you ever did on January 6th. It should have been worse. You know, honestly, I don't agree with violence is never the answer. I agree with that, but I vehemently want some accountability. And Silk was saying, like, I agree. I'm not going to waste my time. I will tweet about it and I will talk some crap about the Epstein list, but I'm not going to sit here and obsess about it, but like, who was the last politician that you saw get held accountable for anything that they've done?
Right.
Richard Nixon. That's before I was born. You know, like,
no. They're going to throw George Santos in prison for 7 years.
Well, and
for
Bob Menendez,
a grand total of $55,000 worth of mishandled funds. When Congress people left and right in both parties mishandle hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars all the time, and none of them, they're still in Congress. But we're going to put George Santos in prison for 7 years?
No, absolutely. That's what I got 7 years in prison for January 6th, and I did 46 and a half months of it. But I want to see, you know, and we are regular people. Maybe you guys are y'all have a little higher profile on the deal, but we regular people, we want to see, like, they didn't have a problem sending the FBI and Houston SWAT and an armored personnel carrier blocking off both ends of my street with flashbangs, assault rifles, or long arm, whatever you want to call them, rifles with laser beams pointed at them. They didn't have a problem coming to my house and arresting me. So where are the arrests that we want to see? Where is the accountability for anything? Like, I want to see any of it.
Something.
Show me something, and you know, and but
arrest somebody.
It was okay to come take me and throw me in the gulag and do all these things, and it was okay to arrest y'all and come after y'all, like you were, like it, and it would have been one thing. Did I break a window on the Capitol building with a tomahawk? Yes, I did. Did I throw objects at riot gear police that beat the crap out of me and a bunch of other people? Absolutely, I did. So, did I get out of hand? Yeah, I did. But like, what about all these other things? Like, you had no problem calling. That was been the thing. If you would have said, okay, you broke a window, you threw sticks at cops, so we're going to arrest you, we're going to put you in jail for a year. I can accept that, right? I probably deserve that. But when you labeled me, because of that, you labeled me a tier 1 anti-government extremist. You sent the head of the Joint Terrorism Task Force for the Houston area with Houston SWAT, with the FBI, to my house to raid my house, like I was literally Ted Kaczynski, Timothy McVeigh, Osama bin Laden.
And Dr. Gold, just real fast, you probably do the same thing as me, but I have to just make a defining distinction here for the audience and anyone considering Shane talking about what happened on J6. I appreciated his humility, and his story is really important, but we must make sure that no one ever gets this twisted. Do not be so stupid as to think that what happened on January 6th is somehow similar to the chaos we are seeing in the streets right now in California, as a legitimate law enforcement agency seeks to uphold legitimate law, and people are throwing sticks and shooting guns and bullets at our officers. That is not what happened on January 6th. The law enforcement presence on January 6th was improper, disorganized. It was sabotaged by Nancy Pelosi, and some certain members of those law enforcement agencies acted improperly, violated protocol, attacked unarmed protesters who were not causing actual violence. And that is the vast majority of the violent content of J6.
That's right.
Initiated, predicated on government mismanagement, government misconduct, which far exceeds the ability for any single individual citizen to cause a problem, and they are held to a higher standard. So I just had to make that distinction. Dr. Cole, go ahead.
Let me just jump in here for a moment. So my strength is really in the research and writing, where I put, Shane, a lot of what you're talking about is in my book. And this book took me 2.5 years to write. It was a beast. It was a burden, but I did it to speak for all of us. What fundamentally went wrong on J6 was that the government treated a subset of its citizens entirely differently than it ever treated a subset both before J6 and after J6. And it's the proof is overwhelming. It is well documented that how J6ers, politically conservative. So Shane, I didn't even know your story. I don't know a lot of the J6ers, but your story, and I appreciate you taking responsibility for what you did, right? But your story on another day in another location was never handled the way it was handled on J6.
That's right.
If you want that factual reference, I struggled and I researched and I wrote it so you have it. So you can point, it wasn't done on J6 2021 as it had ever been done in our nation before. And if you can indulge me, I just pulled up a thing, because we always talk in general how the election was stolen, and people know that I speak about COVID, I speak about medical freedom, and I don't really talk politics. But here are the facts about the election the numbers, okay? Because I went and I looked them up, and here are the numbers.
Is it?
Now,
Can I ask you? Is it
yeah.
called selective persecution?
Persecution, yeah.
I
Everybody
just pulled it up. It's on Amazon, so if you got it,
I love
you
it.
can see it. Right I'm
Anyone
ordering it right now.
anyone who wants like the facts, like exactly what happened versus the summer of rage, what happened to us, what happened to Stephen Colbert crew, what happened when Jamal Brown pulled the fire alarm, he didn't get charged with the 1512, like it's
Right.
all there. So because you can't, it takes a lot of time to put these facts together. Now you have it in your hand. Now, in terms of the election, I actually really never talk about the 2020 election because I feel like you don't come to me to hear my opinion. You can hear me talk about the medical because that's, something I have expertise on. But here are some numbers for people. This in our entire national history, except one election, which was 1876, voter turnout in an American presidential election is typically between 50 and 60%. It never goes beyond the 50 to 60. The highest voter turnout was 63%. Kennedy versus Nixon in 1960. And that was a really popular election. In 1984, when Ronald Reagan swept the whole nation, voter turnout was 53%. In the 90s, Bill Clinton, incredibly popular. He got in his two elections between 49 and 55%. In 2008, the change president Obama got an extremely high 62%. That was like a tremendous outlier. Now, 4 years later, Obama only got 58%. It was more within that 50 to 60. In 2016, Trump got 58%. But you follow the themes between 50 and 60, right? In 2020, Biden supposedly got 67%. Literally never happened in the nation. This is why people were upset. And I just wanted to put the facts out there. You can look through an entire national history. Never did we have 67% of voters turn out for presidential election. And I'll be quiet now. But I wanted everyone to have the facts.
Never be quiet.
81 million votes was the number supposedly. Preposterous. It's just statistically not possible, and it's just you're foolish. And I think you could probably say you're fairly stupid if you're going to buy this idea that suddenly out of nowhere Joe Biden racked in 81 million votes, like
from his basement.
A little history
from his basement.
Yeah, from his basement.
And they want us to believe that FedEx drove through a graveyard and got all of those different names of dead people votes and just bought it here and just put it through the tabulator. But I want to do a quick Jen Psaki and circle back on something that Shane said. That Shane said that really truly needs to be addressed, and that's the mental aspect of this. Being abused mentally when it comes down to this. It's like, I'm doing this movie called Pardon Me with the Beverly B. Williams story. And people that's been protesting for a very long time, nothing happens to them. But like Dr. Gold said, Selective Prosecution, your book, specific people within the last 4 years under the Jim Crow Joe Biden era, they were prosecuted selectively, even though no one has ever been prosecuted for that specific thing that they want to say, okay, this is the crime, this is the crime, this is the crime. And the thing when I want people to understand, imagine just sitting there in jail and you like, I'm in here away from my family and I've done nothing wrong. Now, Shane, I know what you did, but you did that out of respect of being a real man and out of self-defense.
Yes.
Okay.
Key.
Yeah. And people don't, that's part of the narrative that people don't hear, because the media, all they want you to know is, oh my God, he broke a window. Oh my God, he did this. But you don't know why. You got to understand the whole story. And that's why I have a lot of individuals, J Sisters, on the show so that they can tell their side of the story to know what really truly went down, okay, instead of one side of the narrative. But what I want to get to is that mental part. Then you get out You get out of prison. You get your partner, what have you. But society still look at you as a third-class citizen. You're still treated as a felon. You can't get a job because that still is out there in the media, on the internet, archive. You see what I'm saying? So I truly believe that some type of fund should have already been set up for the J sisters before getting out. But I understand, how everything worked with President Trump and the inauguration and the way that they did everything. But by now, 6 months later, there should be some type of fund set up for these J sisters so that they can go and get some type of mental help. Mental help, because it made me, it got me mental anguish, because it could have been me. Look, it could have been me. It could have been my sister, because we was up there January the 6th, even though we didn't go to the Capitol. Okay. And the media kept trying to put my sister and our name in the middle of everything. Like we did something. And all we did, we was at the eclipse. The ellipse, That's where we was at, and it could have been us, okay? But there's a lot of innocent grandmas, grandpas, a lot of innocent people that didn't even go in the Capitol that got locked up. All right, so it did something to me mentally. I need to get a check.
Can I say something to you real quick? Can I respond? I just wanted to say, I'm not a podcaster. I don't feel like my opinion is. I'm not some highfalutin. I'm not educated. I'm an oil field guy. I did residential roofing sales, and I've been in trouble a whole lot of my life. But I know Jesus Christ, right? And I tried to get my life back to normal, and this was a struggle for me when I got home. I just kept saying, I want to be normal again. I don't want to have this unsettled feeling like I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. Now I have a podcast. Now I co-host another podcast, and it's like, what am I doing here? And I was in it, and so this pastor said, this guy does leadership for pastors. He trains pastors in leadership, right? This is how this guy does it. He said, Shane, I keep hearing you say normal, and like, first of all, your life has never been normal. And second of all, normal is like an idol that the devil has you in pursuit of. And so if you're a January 6er out here and you want your life to go back to normal and you don't know what your new normal is, the devil may be trying to have you pursue something that's not real, right? And so when I finally embraced that, it reminded me of when the Jewish people were enslaved in Egypt and God called them out of Egypt, right? He freed them from Egypt, and they went to the desert, and they were like eating manna for 40 years or whatever, and they had this manna, right? And they were like, all this stuff, and it was great for a while, and then they were like, man, I want some steak and potatoes. I want to go back. I'd rather be in Egypt in slavery than be out here in the desert wandering around. But God has promised you the land of milk and honey, right? And we want to go back to Egypt because it's comfortable, because it's normal, right? But God is calling you out of the boat, like he called Peter out of the boat. Peter knew he couldn't walk on water. He said, but God, I trust you, right? And so that's what, I know God has me in this moment right now. He has me saying, Shane, you may feel like you're in the desert, you might not know where you're going, but I know, he says, I know where you're going. And so I have to walk in faith, not on things that I can see physically, but in faith in him who chose to die for me, yet when I was his enemy, he still chose to go to the cross. When he knew that I was going to sin yesterday, today, and he knows I'm going to sin again tomorrow. Hopefully I'm going to sin. I'm not going to be sinless. I'm going to sin less.
Right.
But he chose to still go to the cross for me, not to preach on here, but I
preach, brother.
I can never, he is risen. He is the reason too. And so,
Shane, if don't be in fear of walking through the fear of the unknown. Okay. Yeah. And if you ever want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. That's right. Listen, you have to, we as human beings, just go with the flow. Okay, go with the flow. That's all you can do. Like you're sitting here and Lord, where am I supposed to be? The Lord gonna get you where you need to go and gonna have what you need when you get there. But what you got to do is just keep on going. You can't just sit back in the corner and say, okay, What? No, you got to press forward. Keep pressing forward. What's in your heart to do, Shane? What is it that you love to do?
I want to say, why me, God? And then I turn around and say, why not me? God?
Why not you, baby?
Why not
you?
Yeah,
Listen, you don't know who you are resonating with. I know this ain't my show. You don't know who you are resonating with. You don't know who needs to hear your voice, who needs to hear your story, just so that your voice can bring somebody else out of the dungeon. Sometimes God can use the one. He can take and use the prostitute on the street.
He'll use the donkey.
Don't get me started.
He used the jackass.
He can use the jackass,
the ass
of a jack. He can use the ass of a jack, yes. But here's the deal. Will you listen? Will you do what's necessary? You got a man that's hungry saying, God, bring me food, God, bring me food. And then you get a homeless person. You get a homeless person to come there with a piece of bread that the homeless person done ate off, but they still got the bread. But then you got that person that's hungry saying, Lord, I didn't want no food like that. What? You said, God, bring me some food. God brought you a piece of bread. It might have been from a homeless man that just took a chunk out of it, but you still got you some food. So there's a message in everything, baby. Why not you, Shane? Why not?
Amen.
I love you.
Shane, you were talking about, and Silk, you guys were talking about the importance of strong men, right?
Yes.
And a man, what is it? What makes a strong man? What is that, right? And I would suggest that part of being a strong man is being a leader.
Yeah.
But we don't understand what that means either, because people say be a leader and people think, oh, it means you have power, you're in control, you're telling other people what to do. That's sort of where we go with this idea of leadership, right? But that's not leadership. Jesus told us what leadership was. It was to serve your fellow man. It was to take the first step in looking at your own heart and realizing I am in trouble. Like I am way off track, and God has called me to align myself with him, to go with his flow. So when you take the first step on your own and look at yourself and say, my stuff stinks, I got to deal with that. That's leadership.
That's right.
So that's what we need more of in this country. And it's certainly what we need in this movement when we're talking about what can be done and what's wrong with the government. And there's a lot wrong with the government, obviously, but it's made up of people ultimately. Right. So Shane, you were right on saying we need a grassroots mindset.
To that point, Jesus, and I love this, I guess it's a metaphor, Jesus is the groom, the church is the bride, right? And so Christ, and I love this for relationships, right? Jesus loved his wife, we're his wife, we're the church, right? The body. And he loved us so much that he laid down his life for us. And people like, well, I want to be a leader. And you know what it means? I like a particular style of leadership. It's called servant leadership.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a mantra that says servant leaders lead to see others succeed. Some leaders want to be like hoisted up on the shoulders of their men, like, oh yeah, I'm the leader. But other leaders want to lift their men up on their shoulders. And that's what they want to do. And that's what Christ And again, like Ryan Nichols running for Congress, like people like John, I feel like we need to get Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell and Ted Cruz and all these people who are owned by, I can't say AIPAC or whoever it is, lobbyists, whatever it is. We need to get people, regular people,
patriots,
Silk, Dr. Gold, John Strand, changing people who love America, who are willing, and it's not something that's fun to go serve in Congress and to wrestle and try to fight and pass legislation. I can't imagine writing a bill. How boring would that be? But how rewarding would it be to lay down my life for my countrymen and to know that there's somebody sitting at the table that cares about the man who's going to work 9 to 5 every day, breaking his back in a coal mine or breaking his back building homes or whatever they're doing for American citizens, regular American people. And that's what this is. It's going to take sacrificial love. There's no greater love than to lay down your life for your brother or your sister. And that's the example that Christ gave us. Yeah.
But can I just say to Shane, I've been asked, to run for Congress, I've been asked that But I told him if I run for Congress, I'm going to have to run with a hoe. And I ain't talking about a prostitute. I'm talking about a garden tool. Because there's so many snakes up there in Congress just sitting there spreading like butter. They don't mean this country absolutely no good. Okay?
That's right.
We talk about Lindsey Graham, straight up snake. Snake in the doggone grass. That's all I can say. Huh?
Silk, I would just love that. Oh my God, would that be amazing to see you in Congress?
I'm running with the hoe. I like it.
But I have a hoe with me because there's a lot of. We got to clean up a whole lot of that. It's crazy.
You would clean it up, Silk. My goodness gracious.
And may I just say, you know, in the midst of cleaning it up, I'm doing a movie. You all pardon me. themovie.com. Pardon me, themovie.com. This is the Beverly B. Williams story. It's about the young lady who was sentenced to 41 months in prison for praying in front of an abortion clinic. She's the first Black woman to be found guilty and prosecuted and serve time for violating the FACE Act, the first and only Black woman for that to happen. And President Donald J. Trump pardoned her. So I saw those videos of his. Yes, please. I want everybody to please share the videos. The movie is due out. Is going to be released in theaters August the 15th. That's coming up in a few weeks. August the 15th. I want everybody to please share the video clips. Please tell your family and your friends. This is a feel-good movie without the woke stuff.
That's right.
Your family can go look at all of this stuff right here. You can look through the first 5 minutes without seeing, all of these, the two men and all of this different stuff. Yeah, okay, I'm trying to keep it clean, all right? All right, so it's a family feel-good, faith-based movie for all to go see. And you can go to Pardon Me, the movie, so that you can see the trailer. God bless you all, and one more thing. Get the Diamond and Silk bobblehead memorabilia, $10 to celebrate Diamond and Silk 10-year anniversary.
Wow.
This year, 10 years.
10 years. That's amazing, Silk. Congratulations on that. That's awesome.
Somebody just asked, the movie name is Pardon Me, the movie. I had actually dropped it in the chat earlier. Pardon Me, the movie. Okay, that's how you can find it.
It's actually Pardon Me. The name of the movie is Pardon Me, the Beverly B. Williams story. But you can go to pardonmethemovie.com.
Okay, there you go. That's good.
And Dr. Gold, do you want me to play a persecution testimonial video here?
I definitely want Silk, because I'm not sure Silk has ever seen our persecution videos on our J6ers. So maybe we could play that now.
Okay. Get your tissues.
Oh.
Here we go.
The mother of a J6 defendant. As he held my son's life in his hands, that judge took multiple cat naps. I am not the same person that I was before this. If they do something for me just because I exercise my freedom of speech, so be it. My name is Mary Sturgeon. I'm from Dillon, Montana, and I am the mother of a January 6er. Our son, Isaac Sturgeon, called us back in January of 2021 and told my husband and I that he was quite excited to be able to go to a Trump rally in our nation's capital in Washington, D.C. And I remember thinking to myself, what a historic event that would be. So on January 6th, our son went to Washington, D.C. He said it was a really happy crowd that day. He did not commit any violence. He did not assault anyone. He didn't break anything. And he never went into the Capitol building. He was walking on the sidewalk by the Capitol, walked up a set of stairs where there were some barricades and a few police officers. So he stopped and visited with them. He appreciated the police officers and expressed his appreciation to them. And the crowd built up around him. And some of the people in the crowd were getting quite vocal, but in the end, the barricade was pushed down upon them and pushed the whole crowd down the stairs. And of course, Isaac had to put his hands on that barricade. But just because of that one event, where our son was standing quietly outside, later on in the month of March, he was overseas traveling. The FBI sent some foreign agents to his motel room to raid his motel room, pound on his door, and arrest him and send him back to America. My husband and I received a call from an attorney in the Brooklyn, New York district, and she told us that Isaac was in jail there. And that was just shocking, especially because you can see on some video cam where he just was standing quietly at the top of those stairs with his hands in his pockets. He's a peaceful man. He's not a fighter. He's never been in trouble with the law. So that day we received the phone call from this attorney, and she said the judge wanted a $250,000 bond. Through a series of miracles, several of our friends and relatives put their homes up for collateral. I think that was astonishing to the judge. He asked each person how much was their income, and it wasn't a whole lot. Out here in Montana, we don't make a whole lot of money, but he let Isaac go free and come back to Montana with an ankle bracelet. But we were so thankful that he was allowed to come back. He went to trial in May of 2023. That was 2.5 years after his arrest. They had charged him with 3 felonies and 4 misdemeanors, just for standing outside quietly. They really pushed him hard to take a plea deal, and he prepped my husband and I and said, Mom and Dad, I just can't take a plea deal. I can't do that. He decided to have a bench trial with Judge Royce Lamberth. A bench trial is where there is no jury, it's just the judge, because we know that the juries in D.C. are quite biased. In choosing a bench trial, he was hoping that the judge would rule honestly, but no. In fact, that judge, Royce Lamberth, took multiple catnaps as he held my son's life in his hands. And at the end of the 5-day trial, he found Isaac guilty on all counts. We went back to Washington, D.C. for his sentencing, and his public defender expected that they would ask for just maybe 5 years, and he would get 3 years. But at the last minute, the prosecution, which was particularly vicious team, they asked for 11 years for our son with no criminal record, and he didn't damage anything, no violence. Even though they tried to accuse him of that, they had no evidence for that. And so Judge Royce Lamberth sentenced our son to 6 years in a federal prison. 6 years for our son. This persecution by our government has affected us in a multitude of ways. Our son, Isaac, runs his own landscaping business in our small town of 5,000. His reputation was smeared by various media outlets. He lost friends, he lost clients, he lost sleep. I lost sleep. He even commented during those years of that heavy weight on our whole family, but especially on his shoulders. He said, I just don't have my sense of humor that I used to have. Yeah. My son went to prison in Ohio in January of 2024. He spent over a year in prison, and after his pardon, for which we are very thankful, he was able to come back to Montana. And he told me many weeks later that he finally was beginning to be able to sleep at night. We have received many pieces of vulgar hate mail. The burden of this hanging over our heads for these last 4 years has taken its toll financially and physically. I have severe eye problem, especially in one of my eyes, and the stress has definitely worsened that. There are nights when I still wake up in the middle of the night with what must be a panic attack type of thing. I haven't had those things in years past until this experience in the last few years. I am not the same person that I was before this. Basically, the government messed with my son and they woke up Mama Bear. I'm kind of a soft-spoken person, but I have gained courage through the prayers of other people and by having to say and do things that I really didn't want to do, but I realized that this is bigger than my son and our family. It's much bigger. It's for our country. There's so many people who've been persecuted by the government in a lot of different areas, and I love our country, and I now speak up for our country no matter what. I count the cost, and if they do something for me just because I exercise my freedom of speech, so be it. I love our country and I want it to be preserved for our children and for our grandchildren. Restorative justice means to me our government needs to help the lives of these J6ers to heal. They need to help these people put their lives back together and make up for the time and the money and the stress of what they've been put through for all of these years. And some people have lost spouses because of this. That, to me, is what restorative justice is, to try to make things right, try to bring people back to how their lives were prior to all of this. I am Mary Sturgeon, and I am the mother of a J6 defendant. I am one of thousands harmed by this weaponized government. We are your brothers and sisters, and we are hurting. We are J6.
The American people need to see these stories of political persecution. Please share them widely and join us at wearej6.com to help deliver restorative justice through victim recovery and government accountability.
Wow.
Excellent.
I'm glad I still have my eyelashes on. That was really, really incredible. Very well put together and stated and said. That's what people need to hear. That's what people need to know. Are you all posting the videos on like X?
Yes, they're posted on X, and pretty soon we'll have them on the website wearej6.com directly there as well. But they're on X.
How much of what we talked about on this, I hadn't even seen the video, I didn't even know, but how much of that did we encapsulate just in our conversation that she was
Right, we did.
totally like it's
But we know that people's attention span and their time, that it's limited. So we reduced close to about 5 minutes. And we just want to show the slice of life. I mean, Shane, your story would be a good story because people have a vision in their head that doesn't really match what it was. Still clarified a little bit. Like they don't know. They really don't know. So the stories are very powerful.
Thank you for telling the story.
You guys, thank you so much for being here and supporting, for being just who you are. Shane, thanks for your courage and for your testimony. It's really powerful, brother. Appreciate that. Just want to encourage everyone watching and listening to understand how important this is and how important it is for each one of you to step forward in faith and courage in whatever way that is to participate in the fight for restorative justice. We do hope that more of you will create videos, and we make that super easy. So just send us an email or register wearej6.com. You can email us at info@wearej6.com. But if you register, you'll get an email explaining how to make the video, and we do help you put it all together really easily. I know Shane has to get moving here, and Silk, we really appreciate your time and your courage and your voice.
Love you, Silk.
Thank you so much. Please give any closing comments to the audience, before we wrap up.
And let me just say, we are J6. That makes a lot of sense. Even if you wasn't there on J6, we've all been prosecuted or persecuted by a weaponized government in one way or the other. If it's just with them using our American tax dollars to launder it and funnel it to these NGOs or these different foreign entities or these left-leaning liberal organizations or what have you, we are J6. We are tired of the weaponization of this government destroying American lives. So everybody, please support John Strand and Dr. Gold. We are J6.com. This has been an incredible panel, and I want everybody to share. Make sure that you continue to share these stories so that people can understand what truly happened instead of staying stuck on the narrative from the media. So thank you once again very much, y'all. And don't forget, pardonmethemovie.com.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you, Silk. Thank you, Shane. And
Can I give a shout out?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm the founder, executive director of Stand in the Gap. If you go to standinthegap.foundation, we are helping January 6ers. We're doing credit repair. We're paying for healthcare, medical, and dental. We're doing a thing called Mission Memory Maker, where we're fully funding a 3 to 5 day vacation. We're starting with January 6ers that did 1,000 days in jail at least first, so they can reestablish those familial bonds, paying for Uber, airfare, resort fees, and then we're going to do mental health retreats soon. But check us out there, and just remember, America, like, be defiant.
Yes.
1984, more 1776. Stand up, be active, and thank y'all for fighting. Like this right here, this guerrilla journalism, this guerrilla podcast, like, this is what is making America great. That's what the Crooked Joe's 4 years gave us. We realized we can't listen to this, and Donald Trump did this so well. We can't listen to the mainstream media. We are the
media.
We are
We are J6, and we are the media. Yeah, we are the people. We are the country.
Thank y'all for having me. God bless you.
Thank you, Shane. God bless you, brother. Thank you, Silk, so much. Any closing words, Dr. Gold?
Nope. We're gonna let Silk and Shane carry the day.
All right. Amazing. Everyone watching and participating, we love you. God bless you. We are here for you. We are continuing to fight. We invite you to fight along with us. Please continue to share and register. wearej6.com. Find those videos on X and share them, and we'll get more out as soon as you send them in to us. So let us help you with that. We love you guys. We'll continue to pray and seek restorative justice. Continue to pray for President Trump and for our country. God, we love you, honor you, and pray and work towards returning to being one nation under God. And we will, of course, let you guys know the next time we're back for a live stream, and the mission continues. So we love you all, and we will see you very soon. And God bless you all.
incredible.